You promised us a story, man.
I'm going to show you a story. Let's call it the $1 million distraction.
Okay.
And we used to host these big parties at one of my businesses, and we had a big, huge, massive warehouse, and we'd carve out a big section and have a big Halloween party. And I can remember trying to, it's going to be great. We invited everybody, suppliers, partners,
sure,
our advisors, customers. It was just a lot of fun, once a year kind of thing. And I can remember getting served with a bunch of legal documents the day before we had this party, and all hell, kind of raining down on me about, oh, wow, I didn't know we had this problem until that day.
Right. And that's how those things go, folks. Random Tuesdays. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And then, as a young business owner, I've got all these people coming. They all want to talk with me, see me, interact with me. I've got to be positive. My wife was there. I had a new, little kid. And getting through that first night and being able to not be so freaked out, talk to people as if everything was going to be great and tell my story. I always say this because I always convince myself I'm always telling my story and how it's going to work out. And it was the first day of what would be like 2 years of hell going through. If you've ever been through a really large legal battle, especially as a small business, where you're always short on cash and all this kind of stuff, it's just a horrific distraction. And I feel
that
like,
is the understatement of the year. And I wish I couldn't qualify that, but
it's brutal.
Yep. That's how it works.
It's they have those seminars, and at the end, you walk through your coals or barefoot on a bed of coals or whatever. I really felt like, looking back, I felt like I was doing that for 2 years. And I can remember just actively having to force myself to walk in the door every day and be upbeat. And, I didn't know if my business was going to make it through this battle.
Sure.
But I was like, I've got to keep focused for these people and for my family. And at a couple of times during that whole thing, I recalled not even wanting to look at myself in the mirror. And I was like, wow, man, I just cannot. I've told this story in more detail in the show, but I started telling myself, this cannot be the defining moment of my business career.
Right.
It can't be.
Right.
And I even got to the point where I would force myself to look in the mirror, and as I was getting, you get ready and all stuff in the morning, and even took it another step where I would kind of pound myself in the chest and be like, I can get through this. I can get through this. And I tell this story now because it was incredibly difficult, and and I don't tell it to make myself look better, because it wasn't. I made a mistake and I paid the price for it. And, there was no way to go diagonal, and I thought I was a shortcut, and there just wasn't.
Right.
But it did turn out to be, a really turning point in my business career, because I learned if I could compartmentalize this, it's just another problem I had to solve. And I even, during arbitration with this, massive global company, I finally just said, what's it going to take, guys? And they threw out a number that they just thought was just impossible. And I said, okay. It was $1 million. We'll pay you $1 million. I just knew, and I told my attorneys and everything, we just have to do this, because I need to go back to work tomorrow, and I can figure out a way to make $1 million. That's another problem altogether.
Yep.
But I cannot sit and fight this battle every day and be so distracted.
Oh, because you're going to make zero fighting that battle. Yeah. No, that's
the battle of you're right, I'm wrong, whatever. Okay, that was one thing. But it's like and so compartmentalizing my life, I felt that's where I really learned how to do this.
Yeah.
And it served me very well. I don't recommend anybody ever write $1 million check to learn that lesson. But
no, I don't think anybody would choose to do that. Yeah. You were in a scenario where at least from your perspective in that seat at that moment, that was the best path out. And it worked out okay for you. Like, in fact, it worked out great for you. You said it wasn't going to be the defining moment of your career. I would argue the opposite. I think the success of getting through that has been hugely defining for you.
It has. And now that I can look back on it,
of course,
15 years later or whatever, I can kind of, talk about it as a lesson. But right then, back then it was so raw. I just it was just brutal. And,
Right. No, I get that. I don't mean to dismiss it.
Focusing and learning how to compartmentalize will help you because especially small business owners, things are going to happen way beyond out of your control that are going to seem like disasters. And it's up to you to stand up and be a leader and talk, okay, we're going to get through this. This is just another problem and we're going to figure it out. And as everything goes to hell around you, you're the one, you want everyone to look to you. You don't want to, you just can't be running around crazy. You can't. You have to be the leader, and learning how to compartmentalize better will help you be that better leader. So that's my story. And, I would love to hear tips about, things that you've done in your business career that have taught you how to compartmentalize and ways you've done it. Business or feedback at businessshow.co is where you share it.